Hi class. On this tutorial, we'll see how to create a button using Photoshop. So I have opened the software and I will create a new document. You can select a preset that suits you well. For us, web will be enough, and you can pick up any of those that you wish. I'll try web large today. For the moment, I will maintain artboards unclicked so that my file is less heavy, and this is especially important for those of you who are using Photoshop on the virtual machine. And then I'll just click on create. So right here we have a new document, a blank canvas, and I will add a shape to it that will be my button. So I'll come here to my tool panel and I'll pick the rounded rectangle tool, and if I click once on it, I can see that I have on the top, I have some parameters that I can fill, and right now the radius is 50 pixels. Okay, this is the radius of the corners of this rectangle. So let's draw it on the screen. I just click it and I can drag it until I have a shape that I'm satisfied with, and this should be good for me. Okay, and right now I feel that the radius is sort of small. I wish I had a more rounded corner. So I can come here to the panel, to the properties panel, and as you can see I have the dimensions for the corners here, and I can increase it. I'll try 100 pixel. Okay, so it's a lot more rounded, it's more interesting as well. You could try to move it, to center it, or you can press Ctrl A to select everything, and then you just go to the top and position it, center it horizontally and vertically. Okay, Ctrl D will deselect, and right now you have this black shape that is your button. Okay, I'll try starting to change its color. So I want a shade of blue, maybe a darker one, so let me pick another one. Okay, this one is good enough for me. And you can see here that it is a layer. Okay, so what now? I'll select this layer and I'll add some effect to it. And the FX button, you click it once and you can select what type of effect you want to apply to your button. And I will start with drop shadow. Drop shadow, once you click it, it will open this window where you can change its parameters, like for instance the color of the shadow, if you want a red shadow or if you want a blue shadow. But for me, I think we'll keep the black one. And this is the blend mode. You can also change it to one that you find that suits you best. And also the opacity, you can make it entirely black or a little bit more transparent. You can use as well an angle to move the shadow around, and I'll leave it as this. You can change the distance, how far the shadow applies itself to the background, and I'll leave it somewhere around here. And you can also control the size of it, so it's smaller or it gets a little bit more blur. So once I am satisfied with it, I click on OK, and this effect is applied. And you can see it here on the layer panel, and if you wish to turn it off, you can make it invisible, just as you can click the layers invisible, as you can see here. So right now, let's try something. Let's right click on this layer and duplicate. Okay, duplicate the layer. As you can see, I have two of those rectangles, one above another. And right now, I will change the effects that are applied. So no longer I want to have the drop shadow. So I can just double click on effects and select, for instance, bevel and emboss. And I don't want to have this drop shadow applied, so this one I can grab. Once I click on OK here, I can grab the drop shadow, and bring it to the bin. So right now I only have the bevel and emboss. Double click on it, and then you can make the changes that you wish, and you have a small preview right here. So you can choose outer bevel, inner bevel. We'll see how it's different. I think inner bevel is more interesting. The depth, the direction of it, and as well the size. So you can make it very big or a more discrete bevel. I think this is good enough. As well, you can make it with a softer border or a more pronounced border, and I think I would use something that's in the middle. Okay, and right here you have the colors that are applied. So you have white on top and black on the shadowed part. I think this is good enough. Also, you can improve if you wish. You can change the blending modes, and I think screen is good enough, so I'll keep it like this and click on OK. Okay, so now we have a button. Let's add some text to it. I can click here on the text tool, and you can see that the text tool right now has a sort of a square around it, and if I bring it on top of my shape, it becomes rounded. This means that if I click on the shape, it's going to use this entire area as a text box. That's not really what I want, so I'll just bring it outside and click once. And right now the color of the text is white, but for us to see it, I'll change it to red just by clicking on it here. And I'll write something like click me. Okay, and of course you can select it. You can change the style of the font if you wish. But for me right now, I think Helvetica is going to be good and bold. Okay, so once I'm satisfied with it, I can increase it, Ctrl T. Remember to press Shift when you grasp the corner grips. Bring it to the size that you wish. And right now you can try to align them. Like, let's say I'll just position it here. It's not aligned at all, just for you to see. And then I'm going to press enter, position it there, and I will now select by clicking and dragging my left button of the mouse. I'll click and I'll open a selection, and I'll select both elements that I have right there. And on top you can see that I have some options for alignment, such as I could align everything on its edges, but I want to center it. So I'll center it vertically first, and then I'll center them horizontally. There it goes. So it's now centered. Then what we can do now is apply an effect on the text and change its color. So select this layer. Let's start by changing the color to a whiter shade. Okay, and we can as well apply an effect, such as we could try bevel and emboss again. But right now, let's play with it a little bit. We could try the outer bevel to see if it gives like a sort of a 3D effect. You could try emboss or pillow emboss, and you have all of these options here. And I think I will try something more discreet, like the outer bevel. Or no, maybe I'll try the emboss. Okay, and you can control it, like the depth that you wish to give to your text, as well as the size, right? So I'll bring it to a more discrete size. And you can choose to soften it completely or not. I think not so much soften. It's going to work better for this one. And you can also change how the light affects your 3D letter. So I'll leave it right there. And it looks good enough for me. I'll click on OK. And right now I come back to the layer panel and I'll make the background invisible. So this is the representation for something invisible on Photoshop. If I export it now, I will export only the button, and that's exactly what I want. So I come to File, Export, and Quick Export as PNG. I can name it as I wish, button, and I'll save it to my desktop. Okay. Once it is saved, I can open another file that I was working on. So let's say this one. And let's say this is an image I am working for my website mockup. I can simply then find my button file and bring it to Photoshop, and it's going to enter as a new layer. And I can position it wherever I want. And again, by selecting the corner grips and pressing Shift, it maintains its proportions. I will position it here and press Enter. So right now I have an image with a button on top of it. So that's basically what I wanted to show you, and you can practice this at home. Thank you.